of her, and that the fury with which I love her deserves some response. I really don't know what to make of Mother. Most people are proud of their children when they see others admire them, but she does say such poky things. Of course I know that having a gift for music, and a taste for drawing, and a reputation for saying witty, bright things isn't enough. But when she doesn't find fault with me, and nothing happens to keep me down, I am the gayest creature on earth. I do love to get with a lot of nice girls and carry on. I've got enough fun in me to keep a houseful merry, and Mother needn't say anything. I inherited it from her. Evening. I knew it was coming. Mother has been in to see what I was about, and to give me a bit of her mind. She says she loves to see me gay and cheerful, as is natural at my age, but that levity quite upsets and disorders the mind, indisposing it for serious thoughts. "But, Mother," I said, "didn't you carry on when you were a young girl?" "Of course I did," she said, smiling, "but I do not think I was quite so thoughtless as you are." Thoughtless, indeed! I wish I were. But am I not always full of uneasy, reproachful thoughts when the moment of excitement is over? Other girls, who seem less trifling than I, are really more so. Their heads are full of dresses and parties and beaux and all that sort of nonsense. I wonder if that ever worries their mothers, or whether mine is the only one who weeps in secret. Well, I shall be young but once, and while I am, do let me have a good time. Sunday, November 20th. Oh, the difference between this day and the day I wrote that! There are no good times in this dreadful world. I have hardly courage or strength to write down the history of the past few weeks. The day after I had deliberately made up my mind to enjoy myself, cost what it might, my dear father called me to him, kissed me, pulled my ears a little, and gave me some money. "We have had to keep you rather low in funds," he said, laughing, "but I recovered this amount yesterday, and as it was a little debt I had given up, I can spare it to you. For girls like pin money, I know, and you may spend this just as you please." I was delighted. I wanted to take more drawing lessons, but did not feel sure he could afford it. Besides, I am a little ashamed to write it down. I knew somebody had been praising me, or father would not have seemed so fond of me. I wondered who it was, and felt a good deal puffed up. After all, I said to myself, some people like me if I have got my faults. I threw my arms around his neck and kissed him, though that cost me a great effort. I never like to show what I feel. But oh, how thankful I am for it now. As to Mother, I know father never goes out without kissing her good-bye. I went out with her to take a walk at 3 o'clock. We had just reached the corner of Orange Street when I saw a carriage driving slowly towards us. It appeared to be full of sailors. Then I saw our friend, Mr. Freeman, among them. When he saw us, he jumped out and came up to us. I do not know what he said. I saw Mother turn pale and catch at his arm as if she were afraid of falling, but she did not speak a word. "Oh, Mr. Freeman, what is it?" I cried out. "Has anything happened to father? Is he hurt? Where is he?" "He is in the carriage," he said. "We are taking him home. He has had a fall." Then we went on in silence. The sailors were carrying father in as we reached the house. They laid him on the sofa. We saw his poor head. November 23rd. I will try to write the rest now. Father was alive but insensible. He had fallen down into the hold of the ship, and the sailors heard him groaning there. He lived 3 hours after they brought him home. Mr. Freeman and all our friends were very kind, but we like best to be alone, we three, Mother and James and I. Poor Mother looks 20 years older, but she is so patient and so concerned for us, and has such a smile of welcome for every one that comes in, that it breaks my heart to see her. November 25th. Mother spoke to me very seriously today about controlling myself more. She said she knew this was my first real sorrow, and how hard it was to bear it, but that she was afraid I should become insane sometime if I indulged myself in such passions of grief. And she said, too, that when friends came to see us, full of sympathy and eager to say or do something for our comfort, it was our duty to receive them with as much cheerfulness as possible. I said they, none of them, had anything to say that did not provoke me. "It is always a trying task to visit the afflicted," Mother said, "and you make it doubly hard to your friends by putting on a gloomy, forbidding air, and by refusing to talk of your dear father, as if you were resolved to keep your sorrow all to yourself." "I can't smile when I am so unhappy," I said. "A good many people have been here to-day. Mother has seen them all, though she looked ready to drop. Mrs. Bates said to me, in her little weak, watery voice, 'Your mother is wonderfully sustained, dear. I hope you feel reconciled to God's will. Rebellion is most displeasing to him, dear.' I made no answer. It is very easy for people to preach. Let me see how they behave when they have their turn to lose their friends." Mrs. Morris said that this was a very mysterious dispensation, but that she was happy to see that mother was meeting it with so much firmness. "As for myself," she went on, "I was quite broken down by my dear husband's death. I did not eat as much as would feed a bird for nearly a week. But some people have so much feeling. Then again others are so firm. Your mother is so busy talking with Mrs. March that I won't interrupt her to say good-bye. I came prepared to suggest several things that I thought would comfort her, but perhaps she has thought of them herself." I could have knocked her down. Firm indeed, poor mother! After they had all gone, I made her lie down, she looked so tired and worn out. Then I could not help telling her what Mrs. Morris had said. She only smiled a little, but said nothing. "I wish you would ever flare up, mother," I said. She smiled again, and said she had nothing to flare up about. "Then I shall do it for you," I cried. "To hear that namby-pamby woman, who is about as capable of understanding you as an old cat, talking about your being firm. You see what you get by being quiet and patient. People would like you much better if you refused to be comforted and wore a sad countenance." "Dear Katy," said mother, "it is not my first object in life to make people like me." By this time she looked so pale that I was frightened. Though she is so cheerful, and things go on much as they did before, I believe she has got her death-blow. If she has, then I hope I have got mine. And yet I am not fit to die. I wish I was, and I wish I could die. I have lost all interest in everything, and I don't care what becomes of me. November 23rd. I believe I shall go crazy unless people stop coming here, hurling volleys of texts at mother and me. When soldiers drop wounded on the battlefield, they are taken up tenderly and carried to the rear, which means, I suppose, out of sight and sound. Is anybody mad enough to suppose it will do them any good to hear Scripture-quoted sermons launched at them before their open bleeding wounds are staunched? Mother assents in a mild way when I talk so, and says, "Yes, yes, we are indeed lying wounded on the battlefield of life, and in no condition to listen to any words save those of pity. But, dear Katy, we must interpret aright all the well-meant attempts of our friends to comfort us. They mean sympathy, however awkwardly they express it." And then she sighed, with a long, deep sigh that told how it all wearied her. December 14th. Mother keeps saying I spend too much time in brooding over my sorrow. As for her, she seems to live in heaven. Not that she has long, prosy talks about it, but little words that she lets drop now and then show where her thoughts are, and where she would like to be. She seems to think everybody is as eager to go there as she is. For my part, I am not eager at all. I can't make myself feel that it will be nice to sit in rows all the time singing, fond as I am of music. And when I say to myself, "Of course we shall not always sit in rows singing," then I fancy a multitude of shadowy, phantom-like beings, dressed in white, moving to and fro in golden streets, doing nothing in particular, and having a dreary time, without anything to look forward to. I told mother so. She said earnestly, and yet in her sweetest, tenderest way, "Oh, my darling Katy, what you need is such a living, personal love to Christ as shall make the thought of being where He is so delightful as to fill your mind with that single thought." What is personal love to Christ? Oh, dear, dear, why need my father have been snatched away from me, when so many other girls have theirs spared to them? He loved me so, he indulged me so much, he was so proud of me. What have I done that I should have this dreadful thing happen to me? I shall never be as happy as I was before. Now I shall always be expecting trouble. Yes, I dare say mother will go next. Why shouldn't I brood over this sorrow? I like to brood over it. I like to think of how wretched I am. I like to have long furious fits